All right. Hello again, adventurers, and welcome to another exciting episode of The Legend of the Three Kingdoms. Yes, this is my custom D&D campaign set up in my super weird, messed up world that I came up with after a fever dream. And the people below me are the people that were crazy enough to let me have their characters' lives in my hands. And I have already betrayed that trust once in this campaign, so let's see if I can kill another one. Yes, sorry. I'm very asleep right now, so if I seem weird, it's because, well, I am. Um, yeah. Let's let's just dive into this nonsense. Um, One of the party members, Vala, had recently discovered she was being tracked by a vampirus. This vampire had found a way to locate her based on something in her blood that was different from previous contacts she had with another vampire. The vampire attacked the party as they were attempting to head back to Celeste's lair to figure out what to do after losing one of their party members and gaining a much different creature. The party prepared for a battle and siege of this lair, using everything from rope traps to exploding bombs, fairy forests, even enlisted the help of some blood hunters. When the army finally came, it was massive, but through their preparation and strong control of their own abilities, they were able to vanquish all but the vampiress herself. The vampiress would not go down without a fight. First, dominating the mind of the commander, forcing him to attack Vala, nearly ending her life. And then when that was broken, she set her sights on the Nameless, the one with the least amount of connections to the rest of the group. Quickly thinking, the commander was able to subdue Nameless before he could unleash the full power of the arcane torrent held inside him. And through hard work and a fair amount of bloodshed, they were finally able to vanquish the vampires. Shortly after the battle was won, a heavy rain fell over the area, washing away the blood, the mud, and the sweat that had covered all of them. And that is where we pick up.
I'm just going to be using shape water to kind of collect rain and use it like as a pseudo prestidigitation to clean myself with all the battle.
Okay. As you guys watch as the nameless, now no longer bound by the iron bands, is now kind of pointing his hand, and as he does, you'll see Rain just kind of stop in a localized area and just collect, and he rubs it over and washing off the grime and muck he got from basically rolling around in the mud and swamp water. Well, the rest of you would like to.
I would like to collect my iron bands, please.
Okay. It's lightly difficult at first because they're not contained within themselves as you go over them, but as you start picking them up and use the command word, they all start to shrink back together and eventually form the small ball of the bands you had previously. Anything else the rest of you want to do?
That would be it for everyone else. They all go with the other blood all they made out.
Okay. Go ahead and make me a just a perception check.
To the 20.
Okay. So looking around the area, you start trying to figure out where the other blood hunters might have been during the battle. Throughout it, you don't remember seeing them in your peripherals or anything like that, and you start to get a little worried at first because since the battle started, you haven't seen them at all. As you start looking for more kind of telltale signs, you suddenly hear this kind of crunching, squishing sound of boots walking through the wet swampland, and you see coming over a small ridge from behind a few trees. You see some of the blood hunters. Two of them are supporting a third who seems to have a pretty deep gash across their midsection. The skin is very, very pale. The rest are just kind of coming forward and going past the cave mouth to where they had set up the camp before, trying to create some kind of dry area. The leader, which for the life of me cannot remember the name right now.
Sillig?
Sillig. What? Say again?
Yeah, Sillig.
Sillig. Okay. Sillig is one of the two that's holding up the third blood hunter. He kind of nods at you and then just kind of pushes past as he goes into one of the larger tents, and you see him lay the blood hunter down. And they start removing her top and everything to get to the wound itself. And you see them taking out salves and the bandages and stuff. Looks like they're just cleaning and treating the wound. You hear from the tent. If one of your more magical friends wants to lend their healing talents, we wouldn't be opposed to that.
yeah, I'll go with it for them. Is it me? I whoever he was okay, can.
Okay. Just so you wander over and you kind of hand the healing potion and sell it without even looking. Just kind of takes it and very slowly kind of feeds it. And you watch as these really inflamed scratches on her midsection start to get a little less red. The blood doesn't seem to be flowing quite as freely as it was before. Obviously, it helped, but she looks pretty rough right
And I'll, let's see.
I think Nameless would only know that Vala can use healing. I don't think he's seen Argenta do it, so I would
Yeah,
find Vala for them.
yeah, I would probably have neighbor go get Bala.
now. Okay. As you guys go to find the Vala, she seems unnaturally quiet. And probably will be for the next like 20 minutes or so. Yes, this is so. While they're doing that, Commander or Genta, do you guys have? What do you guys want to do?
I wanted to, one, try and gather the unexploded gunpowder stashes.
I don't think there's many. Let me look at the map again.
Because I know the one at the entrance to the cave did not go off, and I'm pretty sure I did not set off the upper one. I know I set one off, but I don't think I set the other one off.
Yeah, you're right. So yeah, you're able to recover those two. Roll me, or not roll me. Choose even or odd.
Odd.
The one that was further out,
Mhm.
near the other end of the forest, as you get it, it looks like the packaging that you put it in had a little bit of a leak, and the gunpowder itself is completely soaked.
Crap.
So
All right.
you might be able to salvage some of it, but for the most part, that gunpowder is not going to be useful at all.
Okay. Well, I'll grab it just in case I can salvage it. And I wanted to try, because I'm still in shock that what all those bullets did. I want to try and find all 4 bullets that have been let loose. The one I dropped from the repair, and then the 3 that I fired.
Okay. The ones that you dropped are going to be easier to find than the ones that you fired. Go ahead and make me a investigation check with the disadvantage.
Okay. 15.
Okay, so looking around, you are able to find the 2 of the ones that you basically lost to the repair. But the 3rd one, you're just not seeing it, with it being dark and wet and rain and everything. It's possible it might have washed away to another area or something that you just can't find it.
I am okay with that.
Go ahead and roll me another investigation check with disadvantage and -5 from the Totola.
Oh no. Okay.
Welcome to my world.
Well, there's only one number worse than that.
Yeah,
So, was that? Hang on a second. Wait. 2.
Yeah, the three that you actually fired, no idea where they went. The vampires moved a lot and then turned into mist and then got set on fire by water, which is weird in itself, but so are the vampires, and yeah, they're gone.
That's what I figured. Okay.
Argenta, do you have anything specific you wanted to do?
I'm just going to lean against a tree and watch the storm, say a prayer to the raging dervish that, we all survived this while tending to my neck wounds from being bit like 5 times.
Seeing that, I'll mimic right behind Argenta. Just mimic everything she's doing.
So Argenta's like slowly letting the rain kind of clean out some of her wounds, and she makes a sign to the raging dervish, and Nameless just tries to do all of that, but he has no wounds for the rain to clean, and so it just looks really weird, kind of standing there at odd angles. So with that done, you are able to eventually get some healing help for the blood hunter, and as the healing takes effect, the wounded blood hunter starts to breathe a little bit easier. The color starts very slowly creeping back into her cheeks. It looks like she's probably going to be okay. And Lillian, having to train with blood hunters before, most of them have been in worse situations than this health-wise, and have been fine. You guys tend to be kind of a resilient bunch, especially with your kind of a fascination with near-death experiences. As they're kind of cleaning that up, and one of the blood hunters is starting whatever kind of a fire he can get going with the rain coming down and everything. So Selig pulls you aside. Well, that was impressive what you and your friends did. I have to say you've done the order proud. Tonight, after your friends have all gotten their arrest, come back out here. We have something we need to take care of. With you. He kind of claps you on the shoulder and then heads off to his own tent. Slowly taking off bits of armor and that, and wringing out shirts and that are just soaked in this blood.
Are there any like not bodies of water, but like mini lakes or anything that I could go just submerge in? That isn't too far, I should say.
The closest one was kind of demolished a bit and turned into a little river. There's a pond. It's probably about a 10-minute walk. This is south the entrance.
Nah, I wouldn't go that far.
Otherwise, the river is probably 15 minutes
Yeah.
away. So
Then I'm good. I was just gonna go submerge, but if it's that far, I'm not gonna wander with my, 6 hit points.
really? Why not? So, congratulations, Vala. You have just screwed up my entire setup.
I apologize. That was one of the reasons why I dialed in early. I was
That
hoping.
is perfectly fine. I just gotta move some names. All right. The only person I didn't have to move was Lillian. So, Vala, you were conscripted, I guess, to help heal up a blood hunter.
That sounds exactly like what I would have done.
And now you guys have all kind of returned to the lair, taking care to not trip the massive spiked log that you put in there.
Be poetic, really, if I did.
Yeah, it'd be kind of hilarious, but I think my players would revolt on me.
I mean, I still have one more level 1 healing spell.
I would like to push. I'm kidding.
And Nameless dissolves in a puddle of guck. You have that the third character ready yet?
Specializes in PvP. Have fun.
What's my subclass? Oh, player killer. Yeah, it's a new custom class. As you all could come in wary, you can see from the very entrance the sun just barely starting to peek in, and its rays coming into the kind of a foyer area. All of you, not only are you, beat up and battered from the fight, but your very spirits feel spent. Everything about you is just exhausted. As you could come in, you see in the dining room area some ale and chilled wine has been put out for anyone wanting a drink. But for the most part, the lair seems basically empty right now, as everyone kind of recovers from the preparations and just the overall stress of the battle. What would you all like to do?
I'll sit down with take one sip of the ale and immediately spit it out, and then begin looking for something that doesn't taste like what I left on the tree.
Yeah, the chilled wine has a slightly better flavor. If you want that, but it still tastes of alcohol.
Nah, I'd wander until I found water or something.
So yeah, they do have fresh water that they pour you, and one of the kitchen staff, seeing you, you watch him just kind of see you turns around, walks into the kitchen, and comes out with a single roll, puts it in front of you, and then wanders off with this look of just exhaustion on his face.
Oh, I am so happy right now.
Anything else for the rest of you guys?
Kind of just wanted to stay outside and enjoy the sunrise.
Okay.
I'm just gonna have some ale.
Okay. Commander, as you watch this as the sun rise over the ridge that mere hours ago held an entire army of were creatures and undead. You see the sun kind of peek over and light up the fog and the mist around the area, making it look almost like snow had fallen into certain places, with the mist becoming bright white.
I forget, was there anything left of the vampire lady, or is it just nothing after she got drenched?
Technically, they turn to ash, but since she turned to ash in water, it just got washed out. Anything else? You guys gonna go take a nap?
I've
Nah.
probably already passed out on the table holding the roll.
After like 2 ales, I'm just gonna go to sleep.
Okay.
Yeah, me too, probably.
Yeah,
I
I'd
think
eventually find bed too.
Okay.
I think Vala would probably try to make sure any of the more severely wounded are taken care of,
Mhm.
and just make sure everybody has settled down. And then once everybody else kind of goes to find rest, I think she would then kind of be like the last one to go down.
Okay. So, as you wander around, kind of tending to the wound as much as you can, you start to realize that this battle was a lot bigger than you guys originally thought. Because the refugees and kind of survivors of the Dark Lord's reign here are not a massive group. Like, there's maybe a dozen people that live here now, and none of them were unhurt. Like, all of them had bites or slashes and things like that, despite the fact that you guys were able to keep the vast majority of the dangerous creatures away. They were still forced to defend themselves. And as you're kind of going through and helping as much as you can, again, you're basically tapped out magically at this point.
Yeah, I've got a first level and a second level.
You help as much as you can. You give the tips on how to deal with some of the, because you've been bit by dogs as the vigilante. You've scratched by wolves and had gutters take chunks out of your chest and out of your shoulders. So you give people the tips, and eventually, as you're just about ready to wind down, you hear a sound from a part of the lair that you thought was completely empty, simply because the only use for it had been as a torture room that the Dark Lord had used on you.
Yes, I have memories of that place.
But you hear a sound coming from kind of the antechamber before the torture room.
Mm-hmm.
And as you investigate it, you open the door, and the room itself is completely dark. And the light that creeps in as you open the door immediately falls on Satin. As she kind of looks up, you see her very quickly just wiping away tears and, Vala, did you need something?
I was going to ask the same of you. Are you okay?
No, and her cheeks get a little bit flushed, and she's, no, I'm fine. I just, there's just so much going on, and I was just, and you see she's really struggling, and as you look at her, you notice that she's wearing the same kind of plain dress that you've seen her always wearing, but it's pristine. Other than, her cheeks being wet and her eyes being red, there's not a mark on her.
And I will sit down next to her and kind of take her hand and, are you okay?
Oh, I mean, there's just, and she just breaks down and kind of buries her face in your shoulder. And for a good minute and a half, she is completely unintelligible, just completely bawling her eyes out. And she finally gets enough. She's like, I couldn't. They needed my help, and I locked the door, and there was so much screaming. And
I'll just start patting her head and just, it's okay. It's okay. You've done so much.
And she kind of stiffens and moves away from you and goes, no. You went out and almost died. You fought a vampire. Vampire sorceress. And I couldn't even. It's not okay.
I didn't do it alone. Do you want to know something?
She kind of blinks away a few more tears. What?
I almost ran.
And she
I wanted to.
With this little look of just shock on her face.
I'm going to tell you a secret. Nobody else knows it. Need to refresh my memory. My name is Daisy Corbell Dewan.
She kind of looks at you, confused. But everyone calls you Vala.
Yes. When I was younger, a vampire began taking a fancy of me. I don't know what he wanted or what his plans were, but I was so afraid for what he would do or what could happen to my family that I ran. I changed my name and I fled. And I became Vala. And ever since then, I've just, anytime things get too hard or too inconvenient or too much trouble, I run again. When this sorceress came calling, my first instinct, every part of me wanted to run, thinking that if I ran, I could keep the people here safe. That wasn't true. And that doesn't stop. And luckily for me, my friends here, they stood up with me. I couldn't have done it without them.
And she kind of wipes away the last few tears she had. Wow. Guess it's nice to have people that will stand with you.
Yes, it is. It's good to have family.
And she kind of, at this point, you can see she kind of has one of those moments where she just kind of realizes everything that's going on, and she kind of collects herself and, you know, fixes her hair a little bit and stands up. Well, I'm going to see if I can help. I haven't used my magic yet, so. And she starts to leave, and she stops and kind of turns. Thank you.
Of course. Keep in mind, if it hadn't been for you, we'd still be under the Dark Lord's control. You saved us.
And she kind of, again, her cheeks flush a little bit, and she looks down. Maybe just a little. And she wanders out of the room.
With that, I will go to bed.
Okay. You're all able to get a pretty decent sleep. But by the time most of you will wake up, it's getting close to dusk. Lillian, but before everyone else starts getting up, you feel a hand on your shoulder jostling you. As you open your eyes, you see Silik there, and he just goes, "It's time."
So I slowly wake up and get out of bed.
You see in his hand, he has your long sword. And as he leads you outside, he leads you past the campsite of the blood hunters, where you see no one is there. Even the wounded blood hunter isn't there. And he leads you further into the forest, pretty far. Like it gets deeper and deeper, and you start seeing, at least in this part of the forest, the trees themselves and the canopy is getting thicker and thicker, and it's getting darker and darker. And eventually you come to a small area between, looks like 5 or 6 trees. And in the center, you see a arcane circle inscribed into the dirt on the floor, and you see all the blood hunters, including the wounded one, standing there in this circle, each with a torch to fight off a little of the darkness. He kind of points to the center of the circle and unsheaths your long sword and just says, "Go to the center."
I'll go for the center.
Okay. As you're standing there, two of the blood hunters hand their torches off and draw daggers and come over, and each one makes a slice on each one of your palms and kind of squeezes it so the blood starts to flow a little bit, and then they move back to their space. Selig comes to join you in the center of the circle. You have hunted a rather impossible beast. Vampire lords are perversion of life. They mock the Dark Lady, take away her ability to control the passage of life into death. And you've ended one of their most powerful. He reaches into a pouch on his belt and takes out a small vial with this very dark, very thick liquid in it. This is the tainted blood of the undead. Today, we bless your blade to hone it into a more capable weapon for removing the scourge of undeath from this world. And he holds the long sword out and gestures for you to just kind of bring your hands forward. As he lays the blade in your bleeding palms, he takes the vial of blood and starts inscribing runes on the blade itself, which at first kind of just looks like he's drawing with like really thick, dark red paint, almost black. It's just so dark. But as he continues to draw them out, they start to smoke, and then they start to burn. The blade itself becomes incredibly hot. You can feel it actually starting to burn your hands, starting to cauterize the wounds that you just got. And the blade itself starts glowing brighter and brighter, to the point where the rest of the blood hunters start to shield their eyes. And when it's over, you see there is a very small little line of runes inscribed along just to the right of the blood channel. And after it's all done, Selig gives the scabbard back to you, sheathes it, and goes, "Congratulations. This sword is now bound to you and your purpose. Treat it well."
I will.
And you now have the Argent Blade of the Ghost Hunter, with the ritual of the Dawn's protection that we have already discussed what that means.
Yeah.
With that, you're kind of taken back. But by the time you return, first of all, the sun is pretty far up in the sky at this point. You realize that it's been well over an hour since the rituals has started. For the rest of you, you all kind of wake up at varying times, but you all notice that Lillian is not in her bed.
I think it's how I slept in the mess hall. I'll immediately just walk into the kitchen and start grabbing rolls.
Okay. As soon as you get in, you see they're preparing an evening meal, and this kind of short, stout woman sees you come in and goes, "What are you doing? Get out of here! We're trying to cook a meal. This isn't your personal pantry or anything like that." She kind of comes up to you and just kind of starts pushing on you, but she only comes up to about like just above your waist. And so she's just kind of pushing on you and going, "Get out, get out, get out. We've got work to do.
I wanted rolls.
You'll get your
Okay.
food when we're done making it for everyone."
She must be related to Mean Lady, and I just walk away.
Commander Vala and Argenta, anything you guys want to do when you wake up? Dead air is always good when you're streaming.
I want to go ahead.
Go ahead.
Your turn, Vala.
I will get my instrument
Okay.
and go into the mess hall and start playing some music
Okay.
to help lighten the atmosphere.
Go ahead and make me a performance check.
Nice. Well, I rolled a 4, but total is 13.
Not bad. So you kind of recovering from the night before. You sometimes hit a sour note here or there, just because your fingers aren't quite working the way you're used to them working right now. But overall, it's a nice, pleasant thing. As you're playing, eventually, the food starts coming out. Commander?
I wanted to go look at the bars of those prison cells, see if there's any more of that metal I can like get for myself. Because I saw what it did, and I actually really need that. So,
Okay. Going in, there are more cages. I mean, obviously there were the 3 cages before. However, the bits and pieces that you got was from basically a cage that had already been damaged a bit, and that's how you were able to break it down. There's still a few scraps from that cage left, but the other 2 cages are not only fully intact, but they're connected to the blood system that you guys found downstairs, so they go really deep into the floor as well. So finding a way to kind of get them out of being cages will take some time and effort.
time I'm assuming we don't have right now. So,
Well, thus far, the scariest thing you guys had to deal with is dead. So
fair. Well, I guess for the time being, I'll just grab the scraps that I can, just so I can try to melt them down at a later point into a consolidated ball.
okay. Yeah, for the most part, you haven't been able to find a way to melt this metal. Everything
Mhm.
you've done thus far has been through chipping it and breaking it apart.
Yeah. So I figure if I get a chance later on, I'll try it then. But and that when that time comes, it'll happen.
Okay, cool. Argenta, anything for you?
Yeah, I'm going to sit across from Nameless as he has the few rolls he was able to take.
Mhm.
And I'm just going to look at him and I'm going to say, your magic runs wild and you really seem to like water. I'm going to start calling you Rapid.
Eh,
Not sure what that means, but okay.
And that's it.
all right. So eventually, you guys see Lillian come back in. You guys notice what look like kind of burn marks on her palms, and she looks a little bit disheveled from being woken up before everyone else. But Lillian, as you could come in, you can see some of them are around the table. By the time you come in, the food has already been set out, and anyone that wants to is already eating.
I will nibble and snack while still playing every now and then.
Okay.
They all sit down and join them. And Rapid and I don't know.
The whole time we're eating, I'm just gonna wait for an opportunity to when Vala leaves her instrument to just try and take it, because it's now my new interest.
All right. Make me a sleight of hand check with the disadvantage.
Pretty sure I'm not proficient with sleight of hand. That would be weird. 7.
So, Vala, as you're playing every so often, you'll kind of like, what instrument do you play?
Oh, I knew that question was going to come up. I would say I'm playing a lute.
Lute. Okay. So every so often, you'll kind of place the lute and then next to you, so you can get a little bit of food, and you see Nameless just really fixating on your lute. And then you pick it back up and play a little bit more, and then you put it down, and his eyes would just never leave it. And suddenly you watch him, like, as nonchalantly as he possibly can, just kind of walk over while not removing his eyes from the lute. Come over, and you watch him just stare at it. He looks at you, looks at the lute, he looks at you, and then just very slowly, Drax style, reaches down.
I would like to mage hand to pick up a roll off the table,
Okay.
and then bring the roll over and smack his hand with it. And then, like, the roll goes, comes up to his face and goes, and then flies back onto the table.
Like distracted, I'll be like, "What's that?"
It's a new shiny.
Just backing away, just eyeing that loot.
Tell me, have you ever played the lute before?
What's that?
That's this. And I hold the lute up.
Don't know.
If you would like to try, you could ask.
What's that?
May I try your lute?
I don't have one.
Repeat after me. And I will hold the lute out. No. I will show him to strum a few chords. And then I will offer the lute.
I will grab it. And I will, since I only saw the front of it and not the back, I will hold it so the strings are facing me. That's the only way I've seen the lute. So it's like the strings are pressed up against me and I'm not strumming anything.
And I will like try to no. Adjust the lute to the proper position. And then
like a child getting those toy guitars for the first time, I just strum all the strings at once. Really hard.
Flame, 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 flame. One of the strings starts to go out of tune as he's just strumming it mercilessly.
I'll be like, okay, yeah, no. And I'll take it back.
Sad look on my face.
As you all are doing this, you suddenly feel like a presence in the room, and you look over, and Satin is at the northwestern door, and she goes, as soon as you're all ready, Celeste would like to speak with you.
Of course. I'll look around at the others like, eat up, bitches.
I'm just waiting and watching the lute.
I take the lute with me and go to leave. Okay. Does anyone else follow?
I will follow the lute, not Vala.
Yeah, I'm going.
Yeah, we'll
follow.
Okay. So as you all get to the throne room with the teleportation circle, you can see Celeste kind of floating around the stairs. You do see the throne that the Dark Lord you used to sit in isn't there anymore. Now it's just kind of an empty space on this kind of crystalline dais. Celeste kind of waits for everyone to get there. Goes, thank you for everything you did to defend this place. I congratulate you on your great victory.
Thank you.
You have fought a very powerful enemy and emerged victorious. Do not undervalue this accomplishment. However, as the battle was raging, I attempted to provide help in my own way. There was another force approaching from the south. I met them prepared to unleash what power I had. and they laid down their weapons. Their leader, a man named Leopold, simply asked to speak with Daisy.
When you say man,
He is a vampire. He disarmed himself, told his troops to retreat a mile back, and surrendered himself to my custody.
do you think we can trust him? Let me rephrase. I know we can't trust him.
I sense no malice in his intentions. He is not the Dark Lord. However, his kind they have different motivations and different views of how the world should be run. I currently have him sequestered in the Dark Lord's former room. He has requested to speak to Daisy and no one else.
And we just gave Nameless a name. Otherwise, he could have been no one.
He has no weapons or any way to enforce his will currently. If you would prefer to speak to him with others, he has no choice but to listen.
No, I'll go talk to him.
Are you sure about that?
Well, and I hold up my hand. I do have this ring, so he shouldn't be able to get into my mind.
That
Sorry?
would hurt.
What would hurt?
Getting into your mind.
Oh God, I walked into that one, didn't I?
We really gotta be careful what we say around him.
So, Vala, I'm gonna follow you to the room. Before you enter, I'm gonna do something.
Okay.
It all
Yes.
goes to at least to the door.
And there's the library with tables and everything right outside the room, so you guys can all go to the library if you want and just wait.
And stand next to the burnt out bookcases.
Yeah.
All right. So you all arrive at the library. You see the door itself is actually not only closed, but you can see a faint sigil of locking on it to prevent anyone from going
Are you serious? What is it alone? I mean, you may not have any weapon, but I mean, you don't have it kind of. He didn't need weapons.
That's true, but he can't get into my mind. That's what I'm most concerned about. And if you hear me scream, burn the whole room.
Yes.
At least him.
Just to make sure you're safe.
Let's make that a last option here. We need a code word if you need us to come in.
That's true. A code word.
And second, I mean, you had the ring on, and the other vampire was able to get into your head.
She was able to whisper to me somehow, but not control my mind.
Tomato. I don't know magic.
It's arcane bullshit.
Okay.
This will at least give me some protection.
Hopefully.
So, anyways, this code word.
Yes. I mean, I remember this. There used to be this game that we would play where we would stack sticks up and then try to pull them out and rearrange them. And when that fell, we would say,
Jumanji.
yes,
Oklahoma.
Jumanji.
Yeah, that's
When you say that, does
good critical role. I'm not gonna take your shit in my game.
so? Yes, if you hear me yell out Jumanji,
We never mind. I won't track it out.
Just tell me when you're about to go in, Vala.
and she'll just like take a minute and just breathe and be like, okay.
All right, I'm going to pull out the vial of holy water that I didn't end up using, and I touch her shoulder as I cast protection from evil and good.
Ooh. Okay.
Alright.
I am also going to cast what is it? The read minds, detect thoughts.
Detect thoughts. That needs to be cast on a target.
Does it? Can't I cast that on myself? Because I thought I could like.
I believe.
You can hear your own thoughts.
Cast it on yourself. I believe it means you can detect your own thoughts. Let me look to be on the safe side.
I feel like I'm thinking of a bad idea.
I got a bad feeling about this.
It's oh no, it's self. So yeah, actually, yeah, you can, but it only lasts for minutes.
Yeah, so I might. So I'll get a minute of being like, "Yo, what up?" And I'm not going to try to probe his mind. I'm just going to try to like read surface thoughts.
Okay. So, as you go towards the door, you kind of reach your hand out, and the sigil disappears. You open it, and you see a face that immediately makes your heart stop for just a second. He's standing in the middle of the room, arms kind of held behind his back, in a stance that you've seen him in countless times before. He has this black cape with a red, deep, like crimson red inner lining, and armor very similar to the Blood Knight armor, but much fancier. Obviously, aristocratic in nature. The armor itself looks functional, but a lot of the pieces on it are there particularly to show wealth. Like there's gold trim in it, and precious stones in certain areas just to make it look very, very regal. His hair is cut very, very short, and his eyes are this very, very pale bluish gray, which is really strange for vampires in general. His skin is also very, very, very light for a dark elf, borderline like grayish instead of the normal black. And as you come in, he kind of looks at you, and you see a smile for a second, and then he kind of suppresses it.
Hey, by the way, we dusted your girlfriend.
She's not my girlfriend.
She seemed to think she was.
Well, she thought a lot of the things that were not true.
Yeah, she thought she was going to kill me.
And you see him kind of look down for a second, and he looks up again. Are you well?
You sent 2 armies to kill me, and now you're asking about my health.
I didn't. She did. I have done nothing but ensure your safety since the day you left.
And I just start laughing. Really.
I know you don't believe me. When you left, how do I say this? You made me question methods, the things that I took for granted. I thought there was something between us, something real, and when you left, none of that's important right now. Just what she did was against my wishes, and more importantly, was against the Blood Council. Had you not ended her, I would have.
Well, convenient that we ended her.
And you see him kind of fighting his anger. Daisy, you really have no idea what you've gotten yourself into here. I can't protect you from this.
Why don't you tell me what I've gotten myself into?
And he reaches under his armor, and he takes out a sealed piece of parchment, and he kind of holds it out towards you.
I'll very, slowly reach over and just snatch it.
Please open it.
Fine, I will open it.
Okay. As you as you open it, and
I will say, with the detect thoughts running, just general, as he, at any point in this, as he felt ill will towards me.
As far as the surface thoughts are concerned, there's nothing.
Yeah, figures.
Not that you feel like you're being blocked or anything. You just get the idea that he just has a really disciplined mind, which is not unusual for vampires in general, because they're constantly backstabbing each other as they all play the game.
Yeah. Well, I was hoping. Okay, I will begin reading the scroll.
Okay. As you look at the scroll, the first thing you notice is the seal at the bottom. Actually, is the official seal of the Chancellor of the Blood Council.
So this is official.
Mm-hmm. And the note reads basically, it is a request to appear before the Blood Council to discuss your findings of these devices that have been ripping holes in reality. It goes on to explain that they had discovered a few more of these devices and destroyed them. However, obviously, something is going on here, and if you would be willing to share the information that you found, you would not only be well rewarded, but it would be considered a personal favor to the Chancellor herself.
So my first question, given what I know, having grown up in Sanguinius, do I have any reason to believe that somebody that would walk in by invitation would walk out?
Yes.
Okay.
With the fact that this, again, the Blood Council and the Vampire Society in general is very kind of aristocratic. There are all of these rules, and there's a lot of bureaucracy built into it. And so the fact that they've gone through the effort to actually send a high-ranking vampire lord to you personally to hand deliver something with the seal of the Chancellor of the Blood Council. These, this is the same kind of invitation the King of Valakovia would get, or high-ranking ambassadors from other countries, or anything like. This is a very big deal that generally you've never heard of anyone lower than like the top ambassador of Valakovia or Fenrish getting this kind of treatment, and even then it would be exceptionally rare. So even if they have nefarious purposes, which they do, that's how their whole governing system works. Because they've made such an official showing of it, they wouldn't be able to do anything to you until the business was concluded.
Okay.
Like, love them or hate them, they like their rules.
So lawful evil, kind of.
Most definitely.
All right. Well, that answers some of my question. we've believed that there were vampires working against the Blood Council, trying to.
And as you keep talking, he kind of holds up his hands. I have not been given the privilege of knowing this particular line of knowledge. I am simply here to deliver the message and to escort you to the Blood Capital, if you so choose.
Well, I will have to discuss this with my compatriots, but I have questions.
I will answer whatever questions I can.
She was able to find me.
And he reaches into a belt pouch and takes out a very small vial of blood. When a vampire takes an interest in a non-vampire, and you can, since you're still reading this is surface thoughts, you see the words lesser creature pop into his head, and he kind of forces that down. It's very common once an agreement has been made, as was the agreement between your father and I, that we take some of your blood as a way to find our, and again another thought just kind of pops up, property, and then it's forced back down to make sure that we can find it's only supposed to be used by me.
Is that all of it?
Yes. And he kind of holds it out.
I'll be taking that.
Be disenchanted until you hold it.
I will hold it.
And you see him kind of wave his hand a little bit, and you feel kind of, as soon as you hold it, there's this little bit of heat to it, and as he waves his hand, it dissipates. And as you look at it, the blood in there just dries up.
Okay.
And he kind of looks at you, and you can see in his eyes, like most vampire lords, he's brilliant at being able to control his emotions, control how he presents himself. But you can just see the slightest tinge of guilt in his face as he kind of turns towards you. It was all I had left. It was the only way I could watch over you. I didn't even know she knew about it. We got to. It was just a single night. I was upset. She took it in a very different way and became obsessed.
That's one word for it.
And you see him kind of adjust himself and kind of get back to this historic face he had before. I wait to hear your decision.
I'll go speak with the others. And I will back out of the room.
Okay. As you cross the threshold and the door closes, the sigil appears again, magically locking the room.
And I'll just collapse almost. Not onto the ground, but just well, that was a thing.
You're alive.
Yes.
So
It would have been better if he had tried to attack me, I think. Instead of trying to play the like he has a conscience now. Regardless, I will use my left hand to pull out the scroll.
Mm-hmm.
We have been invited to talk with the Blood Council.
I mean, we've talked with the other nations before, but this one I'm not on.
I'm sorry, you're not.
Not too keen on going to see these leaders.
Well, I think it's clear whoever's behind this is a vampire.
Yeah.
And that poses a threat to the Blood Council. More than it does to the others.
Or the blood cover with their own actions.
I don't think so. If the Blood Council was behind this or in on it, then we wouldn't have been framed for intervening in that small town. Dorme. No, and even then, I think part of me wanted to try to seek out the Blood Council's help at that point, knowing that whoever was doing this, the vampires that were trying to take control of the town, didn't have the Blood Council's seal of approval on this. As far as the invite goes, it should be legitimate. They don't just extend this to anyone, and they do love their pomp and circumstance.
Yeah, I'll give it that.
But I wouldn't. I certainly wouldn't be honest if I was saying it didn't give me at least a little trepidation.
Are we not wanted still, or is this taking care of that?
No, that was taken care of by the king of Valakovia.
Right. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah, he sent innocent people to die on our behalf.
He never hated. That's right.
Well,
I don't hate you guys.
we were hated. We were hated by the widow. Anyways, he'll pay for that one day. Regardless. Leopold has offered to, well, he was sent here to deliver that message and escort us back to the Blood Capital. If we accepted.
You're the one. We're following your kind right now. I don't know if that's the best idea, but...
Yeah, room full of vampires. I can really only guard one person at a time the way I did you. And it only lasts 10 minutes. And it takes holy water to do it.
I don't know what half the stuff you said is, but sure.
I mean, if me as well, see about boom.
I'm just confused why blood needs a council. And what's a council?
I would like to take the Bants of Bolaro. I'm kidding.
Start modifying it a bit so it goes specifically over the
You read my mind, Jody.
So Rapids, you remember the lady that we killed yesterday, right?
When I killed somebody?
The one that turned to smoke.
I didn't see. I just saw fire.
Do you remember the nice lady that tried to get you to kill us?
Yeah, where'd she go? She was nice.
No, she wasn't. She controlled you. She dominated you.
I don't think so. I think I'd know.
And then you tried to kill us. Do you still want to kill us?
I don't know.
Okay, we're not going to explain this one to us.
This is the fence post we're talking to.
I miss Henri.
Right.
With that, what do you guys
What-
want to do?
One thing, is there a brazier in this room?
In this room, no.
I will go seek out a brazier.
I'm trying to think. I've got like 14 different things open right now. I don't think like the Dark Lord. Not a huge fan of braziers in general. I mean, the closest you're gonna find is probably the kitchen. They have a really big kind of cooking pit stove kind of thing.
Is there anyone in the kitchen?
Generally, there's always someone kind of either cleaning in that, but there's only like maybe one person in there right
Okay.
now.
I will walk in and without saying a word, I will take the vial that I've been clutching in my hand this entire time and just kind of toss it in there.
Okay.
And then just sacred flame the hell out of it.
Okay. Yeah, you just a combination of radiant energy and the heat from the stove and everything just demolishes it. Turns it into kind of just this big old lump of melted glass that the guy in there that's just kind of cleaning up just kind of looks at it and goes, okay. Did you not like dinner?
I hate rolls. And then I will just walk out.
And he's just like, slam. As you could come back, Leopold is still waiting in this room.
He can wait.
Okay.
So, are we going to talk to the giant mosquitoes?
I mean, we can all go in and talk with him together.
Okay, and I walk in.
My God.
Or at
You
least try
really
to.
gotta be careful with what you say around him.
Yeah.
Note to self, learn how to dominate person.
It's
the only way.
I stand there holding a 3-inch ball in my hand of iron.
I don't even know if I got through the door.
Yeah, I don't know that he knows how to get through the door. He's a magic user.
Yeah, as you get to the door, you kind of reach out, and the seal disappears as you walk in, and you see Leopold standing there, and he looks confused when he sees you, and he kind of goes, "I thought I would be dealing with Daisy.
I don't know who that is. I just wanted to come in here.
And he looks at you even more peculiarly. Okay.
I
And he
take
just
back my statement.
stares at you for a while.
Do you have any loots?
No.
Okay, you're no fun, and I walk out.
And he just stands there looking perplexed for a few moments. Anyone else gonna go in?
No.
He doesn't seem very fun.
Oh, he's really not. And you should never. Oh God, no! I can't say things because if I say you should never trust what he says, and there's going to be a situation where we will need him to follow what he says, and he won't believe him, and.
I just say don't try anything you say.
Anything who says?
The guy in that room.
Got it.
This isn't
Or
going to end
anything,
poorly at
any
all.
of it I say.
So what are the thoughts of the group?
Well, I don't think we should go because we can't trust him.
You're not wrong. That's probably the smartest thing you've ever said. I mean, I don't think there's any I don't think there's any immediate danger in us going.
I mean, I've never like going into the country is one thing, but being in a literal room filled with vampires is another thing.
I mean,
Vampire lords on top of that.
yeah.
They wouldn't dirty their teeth with our pitiful flesh. That's what they have vampire spawn for.
There's
Well, we could all
the fact that you guys would actually be going not only to the blood capital, but to the vampire-only section of it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What he said.
I mean, last time I did that, I ended up here.
It will have to be with the higher real phone and read about in the sun.
I mean, if this meeting can take place over a giant flowing river,
Yeah.
I
be more comfortable.
Or in broad
doubt they
daylight.
have that. I really doubt they have that. I could also go in alone.
Because that'll always end well.
I mean, then I'm only risking myself.
Vala, mushrooms, werewolves,
Yeah,
Yeah.
do we need to go on?
rogue
I-
gunmen.
I mean, come on. We're going for the trifecta here.
No. We're stopping here.
I guess I'm saying not all of us have to actually go and meet with the Blood Council. I mean, if they were to try to double cross us, I don't think all of us could stand in their way.
The furthest I've traveled.
I hate to say it, I almost trust him.
But we're not supposed to.
I know.
What does your gut say?
My gut says to trust the council.
There we go.
I mean, I did grow up in Sanguinius. I don't know that anyone else here did.
I mean,
Yeah, maybe.
No.
I
True.
don't remember past a week ago, so maybe.
So we go.
All right.
Back in before that.
No. I will put my hand on Nameless's shoulder and be like, no. You stay here. And I will go back in.
Okay.
When she opens the door, I'll...
looks at you, and you can still see he has this puzzled look on his face. He's like,
Yeah, we don't understand him either.
but there is a blue person out there that came in here, right? Like, I'm not...
When Vala
No.
opened the door, I would have Misty stepped right behind Leopold.
Oh no.
He told me
Oh,
not to
no.
come in, but I really wanted to. Acting on impulse is fun,
It's
guys.
a low roll. Let's see if it's enough.
Would have had time to use the bands.
Probably not.
Yeah.
With how quickly this happened,
Nah,
this is
it wouldn't.
almost just pure instinct. Does a 12 hit your armor class?
Yes, it does.
Oh, God.
So, as you appear behind him, without thinking, he reaches around and just grabs at your the throat and grapples you, bringing another hand up. He realizes what he's done, and he kind of releases you, adjusts his armor, and goes, "Sorry."
Rapids out.
Pretend I didn't hear that.
Generally, if someone appears behind you that quickly, they have ill intent.
Unfortunately for us, he has no intent. And I will cast Friends on him.
On me or Leopold?
No, on you.
Okay.
And say, Rapids, go outside and sit on your hands.
I'll take that very literal and leave Celeste's lair.
Okay. After, because it takes you, I don't know, like the 30 seconds or so to get outside. After sitting on your hands for a few minutes, I believe Friends only last for a minute, right?
Yeah, it's just a minute.
Okay. You instantly could come to the realization that he cast a spell on you that messed with your head, and you get really angry for a moment. While that's happening, Leopold goes, "Have you and your allies made their decision? If you decline the invitation, I have to return post haste."
No, we'll go with you.
Then I am instructed to send the gratitude of the Blood Council to you and your allies. You will be very well taken care of, and will have lodgings paid for as long as you choose to stay.
Very well.
troops to tell them that we will be escorting you. With your little leave.
Yes, you may go.
And as he begins to walk out, he stops and kind of turns. Daisy, I'm sorry. I didn't understand anything. Please understand that. And then he turns and walks out.
I'll follow behind a little bit.
Mhm.
Just because I'm assuming as he walks out of the door, Commander Lilianne's going to kind of be like, kind of look to me. Like,
they're all like sharpening weapons and like,
Yeah.
oh,
Whatever do you mean?
I totally see Commander sitting there cleaning his gun. As soon as he comes out, he just kind of looks down the sights a little bit at him. Which is glowing bright white right now.
he can go. He has to go get our escort ready.
He kind of walks gingerly past you and leaves.
I'll look around for rapids.
When Leopold passes me outside, I'm just gonna say, I want a loot.
And he again just gives you this perplexed look and keeps walking. After he gets out of sight, because he moves remarkably fast. After he gets out of sight and you're really kind of focusing on that little loot, suddenly you feel this very strange sensation. Your skin starts to feel really kind of like hot, like you're having a hot flash, and suddenly there's this incredible pain in your chest that comes on like you've been just struck by a lightning bolt. Your entire body stiffens for a moment as you kind of writhe in pain, and then it goes away. As you're trying to kind of collect yourself, it happens again. And as you kind of look down, you see part of your hand but become translucent for a moment, and then just go back again. And it happens a couple more times, and then nothing. Everything is returned to what it was before.
What did she do to me? It's a weird spell.
Oh my god, I've seen this before.
And with that is where we are going to end it this week. As always, if you missed any of the episode, or if you want to see any of the other episodes from this series, I do upload them all to my YouTube channel. That's youtube.com/TrainerJody. Check it out there. I also have a series called D&D Deep Dives that I've recently been going through all of the feats in the Player's Handbook. We've got the 3 parts thus far, kind of describing how they work and some of the interesting builds you can have using certain feats. So feel free to check that out as well. Again, all of that is on youtube.com/TrainerJody. Otherwise, that's all for me today, and I will see you guys next time. All right? Bye-bye.